How do you approach the Elektra choreography?
The choreography? Well, I approach the choreography from a character viewpoint. What are her emotions, her intentions? She has very strong intentions, and that is to coerce her brother into murdering her mother, their mother. And so she's very direct. She's a little skewed. You know, there's something a little wrong going on up there. So, you know, besides learning the basic choreography from the video, I try to imbue it with that energy and that intention.
How do you think this is different, as in your approach, from other dancers dancing the same role who are either currently in the company or who have been in videos you've studied?
Oh, I don't think it's different. I think that's a pretty basic methodology to approaching the choreography. But what is different is that we're all individual and unique. So the way I express that plotting, that maliciousness, is going to be different from Elisa Monte or Terry Capicilli or Helen McGuire. Some people are a little more emotional, and other people might be a little more cold. It just depends on the actor's own desires with it.
Describe Elektra. Can you relate to her at all? What parts of her feel the most human or foreign to you?
Elektra, I really don't relate to her. Personally, I don't think I have anything in common with her. Well, except, in a way, you know, she's a victim of her circumstance. The gods have deemed that she has to fulfill this destiny of revenging her father's murder. Of course, none of that has happened to me. So in those ways, that kind of hate and murderous intention, I don't know lives in me. It might at some point. But on the human level, I do relate to kind of being wronged. So I take from that, like, if I feel I've been wronged, what kind of things come out of me, and how does that make me feel? So I try to relate in that way.
Would you say it's hard to dance someone you don't relate to?
I'd say it's harder than a character that I know very well. Say, like the bride in Appalachian Spring, you know. It's like stepping into my own shoes. It's a natural fit. This requires more exploration, I think, for me.
Does Elektra remind you of any other roles you've danced in the past?
Well, I'd say energy-wise, it's somewhat related to Night Journey Chorus leader. There's that angular attack, but the intention is very different, I think. In Night Journey Chorus, you know, they're a little more sympathetic, where Elektra is not sympathetic with anyone except herself.
Then what about her relationship with her brother? Because it does seem like she has some sort of close relationship with him if she is trying to use him as an ally. So how do you go about dancing the parts with him where you're trying to almost work as a team and get on his good side, where you're also trying to portray to the audience that you are a scheming, malicious person?
Well, from my perspective at this point, and I'm right at the beginning of my process, but from my perspective, she doesn't really care about her brother. The most important thing is that her father's murder is avenged. That is her destiny. And her brother is just a pawn in her scheme.
What do you like about her, dislike? And what do you like and dislike about dancing the part?
What do I like about Elektra? Well, there's a lot I don't know about Elektra still. I like her movement that Helen McGuire created. I think it's beautiful and very evocative. So I really love the movement. And what was the other part of the question?
What do you like about and dislike about dancing the part?
Dancing the part. What I like about dancing the part is that it is a lot of dancing. And that she has a couple of different qualities. While She is very manipulative. She is very divisive. There are a few moments in the choreography where she becomes human, and the audience can see that she is human. You can have compassion for her. She is really just a pawn for the gods. So I like that kind of conflict.
What else do you want to tell us about your experience dancing Elektra?
Well, my experience dancing Elektra. It's just beginning. You can step into a role and learn the choreography and learn about the character, and it looks like, oh, you could go on stage and do that. But it's really nowhere near being able to go on stage. It's just the beginning. So what I like about it is the potentiality for layers in creating different energies. So I like that aspect. I like that aspect of this work in particular.
So then, as someone who's still exploring this character but has taught the choreography to us, how do you approach teaching something that you're still learning about?
Well, as Denise Vale says in her class, I know what I know. So I do know. There is that possibility to turn it on, like in the name calling. I know who she is at her core. But it's the shading that can be created. But I know who she is, and that name calling, those gestures are essential to her character. And I think that is the starting place. So in that way, I could give that to you guys. I could give those images to you guys, and it's very easy for you to find them yourself too, in the gesture. The gesture evokes something that we recognize.
Do you want to just talk for a minute or two?
A funny what?
Like, I don't know, a funny story from rehearsal, something that
I'll tell you a funny story.
Okay,
wait, is that okay? Well, I think it's funny. I don't know. You guys might think it's funny. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we were on tour in France, in the south of France, in summer, just a couple of years ago. And we were doing acts of light, Helios, where we had these gold unitards. And it was outdoors in this ancient amphitheater where they used to, feed the Christians to the lions. So we are going and having the show, and this little grasshopper was sitting on the edge of the stage the whole time. This beautiful little grasshopper was watching the show on the stage. And everyone kind of saw it and said, oh, isn't that so neat? I didn't see it. So we're dancing, we're making our entrance, and we're tripleting in. And the very first thing in the dance, we go to the floor, we sit to the floor, and I was the leader in the corner. And as we sit to the floor, everyone behind me saw that I was just about to kill the grasshopper. And I went down and I sat right on the grasshopper, and and we went through it, and we stood up, and there I had it, right there on my butt for the rest of the show. So that's one of my favorite stories, murdering the grasshopper.
Can you tell us actually just a little bit about you as a dancer?
About me as a dancer?
Yeah.
Well, I love to dance. I love it. I love Graham, but more than that, I love dance. I love dancers. I love the art form. I love everything about it. I love that it imbues every second of your life. I love that. And it's very special. Dancers are very special creatures. And dance has given me my life. It's given me everything. So, I love it.